He wants to jump, but he just can't anymore. That pause, it's not laziness.
Good boy.
But there's a simple way to bring comfort back. Here's how to help
Good
your
boy,
best
come on
friend
up.
climb back into your world.
You know, our dogs are family, and because of that, one of the absolute hardest things is watching them get older, seeing them struggle with stuff that used to be just effortless. That jump into the car, hopping onto the bed, suddenly it's a real challenge. So today, we're going to dive into how we can help.
And this quote right here, it gets right to the heart of it. This is so much more than just a physical problem. A dog's ability to get around is tied directly to their happiness. When their world starts to shrink because they can't move freely, it takes a huge emotional toll. So that's the big question, isn't it? Our world is built for us, with our high beds and our tall cars. How do we adapt all of that to make it safe, to make it comfortable for our best friends as they age? That's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, first things first. We have to understand that when a dog starts losing mobility, it's not just about their joints getting achy. The ripple effects from that can change their entire personality. Here's the thing you gotta watch for: how the physical stuff shows up in their behavior. A dog that's in pain might suddenly get snappy when you try to pet them. They might stop caring about their favorite toy, not because they're bored, but because it actually hurts to play. And that little hesitation you see at the bottom of the stairs, that's them trying to tell you something is wrong, way before you might ever see a limp.
So, once you see the signs, the next question is, what do you do about it? Well, for most people, it boils down to two choices: ramps or stairs. And believe it or not, there's a real debate over which one is actually better for our dogs.
And this chart breaks it down perfectly. See, stairs are made for us humans. They force a dog to lift their legs to a very specific height over and over, which can be really painful on old joints. And if they miss a step, it can lead to a serious fall. Ramps, though, are a whole different ballgame. They let a dog choose its own stride, find a comfortable pace, and spread its weight out evenly. If they stumble, it's way easier to recover on a smooth slope than on a narrow little step.
But hold on, it's not a total slam dunk for ramps. Here's a really interesting counterpoint from Dr. Tracy Grubb, a vet who specializes in rehab. She actually argues that a really long, steep ramp can put more stress on a dog's body than a good set of stairs. It just goes to show you, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. It really depends on your dog, your space, and the specific design. So, let's say you've weighed the options and decided a ramp is the way to go. How do you make sure you get a good one? Well, it all comes down to two things that are absolutely critical: the angle and the surface. If you get either of these wrong, that ramp can actually be more dangerous than having no ramp at all.
And this is the part that gets everybody. What's the right angle? How long does it need to be? You want it to be gentle enough for your dog to climb, but you also don't want it so long that it takes over your entire living room. So where's that sweet spot?
Well, you could break out the old high school math book. The super technical formula is that the ramp's length equals the height, or the rise, divided by the sine of the angle you want.
Yeah, a little intimidating, right?
Luckily, there is a much, much simpler way. Here's a fantastic rule of thumb that came out of a discussion on Reddit. Just take the height you need to reach and multiply it by 2.5. That's it. So for a bed that's 30 inches high, you're looking for a ramp about 75 inches long. Easy, effective, no trigonometry required.
Now, if you do want to think in degrees, these are the numbers to aim for. For smaller dogs, or dogs that are a bit more frail, you want a really gentle incline, somewhere between 18 and 20 degrees. For bigger, stronger dogs, you can push that up to about 25 degrees. But anything steeper than that, and you really start to lose the benefit of having a ramp in the first place.
Okay, angles covered. Now for the surface, which is just as important. The blog A Doggie's Life did some awesome real-world tests on this, and as you can see, a lot of the common solutions just don't cut it. Artificial grass gets slippery, especially going down. That non-slip tape starts peeling and cracking. And textured paint, it just wears off way too fast. But there was one clear winner. And that winner is 100% rubber, especially the kind with these raised horizontal bars. Just think of those bars as little speed bumps. They give your dog's paws something to grip and push off of, giving them control whether they're going up or down. It's a solid surface, no holes for a nail to get caught in, and best of all, it keeps its grip even when it's wet outside. So you did it. You built or bought the perfect ramp. Your job is done, right? Ha, not quite. Now comes maybe the hardest part, actually convincing your dog to use the thing. And this is going to take some patience and a really clear plan. This 5-step plan is a great guide, and you'll notice the key theme here is making it gradual. You start with the ramp just flat on the floor, letting it become a normal, boring piece of furniture. Then, slowly, you raise the incline, bit by bit, until you finally move it to where it's going to live. That first step is all about making it positive. Let them sniff it, walk on it, play near it. Use lots of their favorite treats, tons of praise. You basically want them to think, hey, this new wooden thing is awesome. Every time I go near it, I get a snack. And only when they are totally cool with it being flat do you introduce a tiny incline. Just prop one end up on a book, a few inches, that's it. Let them master that tiny little hill before you even think about moving it to the 30-inch high bed. This is all about building their confidence. And this is the golden rule. The single most important thing to remember: never ever force them. If you push or pull or place your dog on the ramp, all you're doing is creating fear. You're teaching them that the ramp is a bad, scary thing. It has to be their choice every single time. All right, let's talk about the long game. Your dog is trained, they're using the ramp. What does everyday life look like now? There are a few practical things you've got to keep in mind to make sure this is a long-term success. This quote is just, it's a tough but important reality check. This owner's dog, Takara, had a perfectly good ramp, but sometimes she'd still try to take the stairs, and she ended up falling. We have to remember, dogs have spent their entire lives learning one way to get around. Old habits die really, really hard. Which brings us to these final tips. If you can, start training with the ramp when your dog is young, long before they need it. For an outdoor ramp, you have to keep it clear of snow and ice. And here's a big one. If your dog keeps trying to use the stairs, you might have to block them off with a baby gate. Make the ramp the only option. And above all else, just be patient. This is a huge change for them. And in the end, that's what this all comes down to, right? Our dogs spend their whole lives figuring out our world, learning our rules, fitting into our lives. When they get older and they just can't do it anymore, the responsibility flips. It's our turn to adapt the world for them. And after everything they give us, it's the very least we can do.